Regardless of what happens out there, doesn't matter. Keep your swagger.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Five-Hole Fantasy Hockey Podcast. We're your hosts today. TJ, Dobby the house elf. Dobby, let me get a hey.
Hey. Dobby loves Five-Hole.
Fucking hey, bud.
Hey.
Oh,
hey, don't
boy.
hate on my Dobby. I love this Dobby doll, man. He goes back here. He hangs out with my Flyers and my Phillies gnomes. Actually, let's put him in the middle of the gnomes.
There you go. Anyway, listeners, thank you for joining us today. We are Five-Hole Fantasy Hockey. I'm TJ. This is Zach. What's up, bud?
What's going on, man?
Nothing. It's good to see you.
I mean, not that you and I don't talk like all the time, but still, I missed you.
Yeah, it's a little bit different when we're doing this. Today, what we're doing is a 32-team breakdown. So we're going to try to fly through these 32 teams. It seems like kind of the dust has settled on free agency day, on the trade deadline, on the draft, things like that. So what we plan to do is like a vibe check on all 32 teams. Now, we're not going to get into like the nitty gritty, advanced stats, shit like that. We're just going to talk about the team, where they're at, what they did for themselves, where they kind of stand. I think what would be fun, somebody brought this up in the Discord, where if on every team, we talk about like a power play quarterback for defensemen. So if the team has one, let's call them out. If there is a split or a competition or something like that, we could talk about that too. And I'll keep a running tally, and then we'll kind of have maybe a Google Doc. We'll throw it into the throw it into the Discord. You guys should join the Discord. Follow us on YouTube at Five-Hole Fantasy Hockey, on Twitter at FHF Hockey, and right here on the podcast that you're listening to. So should we do it like normal, where we start with Anaheim?
What I would like to start out with, if that's okay, is one of these.
Yeah. I'll be right there with
you.
it.
Get that going.
Some Frost. Woodford Reserve.
Frost.
Let's throw it. Shag of it. All right, boys. Let's we got some folks in the chat. It's good to see you guys. Caffeine Ketamine, always good to see you. Nate from the other side of the world in Australia. What's happening, bud? No shots. Yes, I was picking my nose before the live. All right. Should we start with Anaheim? They traded John Gibson for Peter Mrazek. They sent Trevor Zegras to Philadelphia for Ryan Poehling, and they acquired Chris Kreider. They signed Mikael Granlund. They finally kind of committed to the youth movement, but all of a sudden they're adding everybody that has a bad contract on the New York Rangers. Jacob Trouba, now Chris Kreider. Mikael Granlund, who's no spring chicken, but I think is actually going to do pretty well there. 1 or 2C behind McTavish. We'll see what happens at the 1C position. There's some competition there. Leo Carlson. What do you think is up with Anaheim? This is a good place to start, because I don't think they have a true power play one quarterback, especially with Joel Quenneville coming in. Now, I'm laying a lot on you. Let's just get your baseline thoughts on the Anaheim Ducks before we get into the minutia.
Baseline thoughts. Let's see now. Well, I'm happy for Trevor Zegras, not because he's going to a winner, but he's getting out of Anaheim at least. But hey, in all honesty, and I've already had this conversation with you specifically, I'm a fan of getting Trevor Zegras. I at least like the fact that we're starting to put together like an actual NHL roster for once in the last couple of years. But I love the fact that, just like you're going to allude to, it's going to give time for the younger guys to actually get some more time on the ice. and for a couple of their younger Cs to move up. I think really the question is who's going to be the number 1C? That I really don't know the answer to. Do you think it's going to be McTavish or is it going to be Carlson?
That is a pretty tricky question. Okay, so Granlund can play wing, so it could be one of the two of them. I think Carlson's probably like the guy that they want as the 1C. McTavish has a couple more laps on him, but not necessarily, ready for it. I don't think he's like truly a number 1C. I don't think Leo Carlson's exactly there either, which kind of makes it perfect.
Not yet.
You have somebody like Mikael Granlund that can step in as a seasoned veteran, as a 1C, kind of as a fallback. Not necessarily that like that's the plan.
I do think that he's going to be on the wing though, especially the right wing, because I think they have a couple of good left wingers already. So you got to put Granlund on that right side.
Yeah, I guess you do. Chris Kreider, Mason McTavish, Mikael Granlund. That's line 2 as Daily Faceoff sees it. Listen,
I hope it stays that way personally, because
I like the way that line looks. I like it.
I'm a huge Cutter Gauthier fan, and I'm pretty sure you know that.
I got a couple thoughts as a Flyers fan.
I like Cutter Gauthier. Always have. And he had a great year last year. He was really healthy, scored points, and I think that this is going to be a good spot for him if he can get a top line, left wing spot. No matter who he's around, I think it's going to be good for him. I like Cutter. He also has a sweet fucking name, dude.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I'll give that to him. Listen, now Chris Kreider going over. He had a down year last year on the New York Rangers.
Everybody.
Now he goes to Anaheim. The leading point scorer on Anaheim last year was Mason McTavish with 55 points. And or no, was it Troy Terry? I know somebody had 55 points. Okay, so Troy Terry number 1 with 55, McTavish with 52. A couple good years, but there's nothing really stand out in terms of like, somebody you want on your fantasy roster squad. Now, Chris Kreider comes in, Mikael Granlund comes in, a little bit of a veteran presence, just a couple, well-tread bodies that are going to be able to do those miles that, these young guns might not be able to do. So I don't know if the floor has really risen for everybody on this one. I still think like, I don't know who it's going to be because, the ceiling wasn't very high, but it got crowded at the top. 55 points for Terry, 52 for McTavish, 45 for Carlson and Vetrano, 44 for Gauthier, 43 for Lacombe. And it just kind of like stagnates around 40-ish points for like most of the guys. Now,
but still, Cutter Gauthier, 44 points in the first year.
Yeah.
Year
not
one?
Not a bad rookie season. What I'm saying is I don't know that we get a 60-point player out of here. And if we do, I have no idea who it's going to be because it could be any one of these guys. It could be Troy Terry. It could be Frank Vetrano. It could be Leo Carlson breaking out. I have no idea. It could be Frank Vetrano. Like there's so many guys who run this squad and it's kind of just like scoring by committee, a little bit diluted, a little bit muted. But the biggest picture surrounding this team, the biggest talking point, I think, is that Joel Quenneville comes in, a completely new voice. And we have no idea what to expect with what he's going to do with the roster. Is he going to front load the minutes? Is he going to, true 1-2 the power plays? Who's going to be his power play?
Well, that was interesting. So TJ just bumped out. Okay, so with that going on, I'm just going to talk about what I think. Oh, hey,
right,
I was just going to go ahead and start talking.
Yeah,
I was just going to go ahead and start talking. You weren't hurting my feelings.
Clicked something wrong, but all good now.
You just gave me a runway, is all you did. Go ahead.
So what I want to say is I don't know who's going to be the number 1 power play guy. Like, do you have any idea? Like Zellweger, Lacombe, Minchikov, everybody on this left side can run it. And I think Trouba is somebody that could run it as well. Is that like, I don't think he has a true say or hat in the ring or whatever, but it's Lacombe, Zellweger, Minchikov. I think it probably goes in that order in terms of like who I'm expecting to be the top power play guy. What do you think? It was
Minchikov,
Lacombe for the most part last
just
year.
as like a young player. I like
Yeah,
Minchikov. That's another guy that that I've always been a fan of.
I agree. I'm right there with you.
As far as that, I think you have to start out with either Olin Zellweger or Jacob Trouba. I would think Quenneville might be more inclined to go veteran
Yeah,
to start out the year, just so that the other kids can get kind of their feet underneath them. Um,
they
but
don't really have a veteran outside of like Truba, though. That's the thing.
that's why
Oh,
I guess I'm
yeah,
putting Trouba there. You'd have to think obviously Carlson, McTavish, Kreider, and then Granlund. I can only
yeah.
imagine.
I mean, they're going to have options. Everybody's kind of punching in the
Unless
same weight class here.
you have McTavish run that second line, but
Yeah,
then again, it's not like they have Ryan Strome. I mean, and he's a decent face-off guy.
yeah. Let's see what Daily Faceoff thinks and how far off I think they are. So they have Zellweger as the top power play guy. I think it's going to be Lacombe. They have Gauthier up there. I think they should. Leo Carlson. I think he's the top power play guy. I think they do put McTavish on the second one, but we'll see what Joel
I
Quenneville
think Michael
does.
Carlson on the top one too. I do.
Yeah. Okay, new goalie era. So they brought in Peter Mrazek. Lucas Dostal played like 50 some odd games last year. I think he's in line for another
John
50
Gibson.
this year. Yeah, Johnny Gibbs finally gets out of there. Goes
How
to
bad have we
Detroit.
felt for that man for how long?
Oh,
Felt so bad for him.
plenty. But
And now
finally
he's
gets
gone
out.
to Detroit, but we'll see how that
not
goes.
much better for him. But for
could be.
Dostal, this I don't know if it's. I mean, it's an improved team, not defensively, but offensively. So maybe he's going to get a little more run support in the win column. Maybe they were not one of the better teams when it comes to goals per game. So
Shots allowed.
oh yeah, they were.
I mean, if you're getting points as a goalie for saves,
yeah,
and
he'll
hey,
be there.
you might have to punt save percentage, but saves, Dostal is going to get a lot.
You know what, Dostal, at least in the first couple months of the season, he was pretty good. But I think Nate hit it on the head here. The biggest addition for this team was the subtraction of Cronin. Getting rid of that coach, that means nothing but good things for the team. So good on them there. Boston. Now, we have been calling for Boston's demise since David Krejci left, since Patrice Bergeron left. It finally happened last year.
I miss David Krejci.
So do I. And I don't think it's going to slow down at all in terms of like, they're not being good. Brad Marchand signs with the Florida Panthers. He's going to stick there. He is not coming back to Boston. So they added a couple of wingers in Tanner Jeannot and Victor Arvidsson. So my question to you is, how do you think, who are our top 6 wingers at this rate?
Jesus.
And I think Arvidsson, I think Tanner Jeannot are both going to get pretty good looks. And I think
with the money they're giving him. I mean,
I think they could be, slightly sneaky additions. Like there are guys, like I would rather have Arvidsson, I think, than some of the guys on Anaheim. Maybe not.
We like Arby. We like Arby. Arby's a goal scorer, but he's not a two-way forward in my opinion, which Boston generally loves.
So what do you think? How does this top 6 look out? What are you thinking?
I mean, Daily Faceoff has Morgan Geekie up on the top line, and not that I'm a hater of Morgan Geekie, but I don't know if I see him being a top 6 guy. Do you?
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean he hung there for a while last year. I think
they just don't have much else.
Pavel Zacha as a winger is strange. I see no reason why they couldn't go Zacha, Lindholm, Middlestat down the middle, and then move Tanner Jeannot up one line into the top six. Maybe move Casey Middlestat as a third line winger. But I don't know. What are they really going to do?
Casey Middlestat can be a top six guy.
Again, I mean, those are more minutes. That's more value. I think maybe not somebody you're leaving your draft with, but somebody that's going to come in handy on a stream level. But Arvidsson, he's not going to be with Pasta just based on position.
Mm-hmm.
But, maybe Tanner Jeannot moves up, and I think he's going to be a really good stream. Like if he winds up getting tethered to Pasternak, I think Jeannot could be a ton of fun. Yeah.
I think the same is said for Elias Lindholm.
Well, I mean, if Lindholm can figure his shit out, if he can get back to that one good year that he had, then
he's the best center on that team right now.
Well, I mean, that's a low bar to set, but I agree.
I didn't say it wasn't, but I think that that's true.
Yeah. All right. So team number 2, who's our top power play guy? We have Charlie McAvoy. There's Hampus Lindholm, and Mason Lohrei got a bunch of power play time last year as well. Keep in mind Lindholm is hurt. McAvoy's hurt right now, but long summer, so they have time to get healthy. Who's our top power play guy? Is there a bit of a competition in Boston?
No.
Like, you think it sounds like no. But
Charlie McAvoy. Charlie McAvoy is the
McAvoy makes sense, but Lohrei has, for me, I think it's a bit more of maybe a tandem QB1 with Lohrei and McAvoy. I don't know if it's a surefire, like nail in the coffin power play 1 guy for McAvoy.
I mean, I like McAvoy better in that situation, but I guess that's just me. And in all honesty, I like Hampus Lindholm too, but I don't know if I see him, challenging for any power play 1 time at all.
Another new coach. So Marco Sturm. I almost said Nico Sturm. Pretty sure he's on the Minnesota Wild right now, but yep. I mean, we'll see what Sturm does with it. McAvoy makes the most sense. He's your longest tenured defenseman. He's easily your highest paid defenseman. So it just makes sense to want to get your money out of him. And he knows the team better than anyone. Then again, like Tim makes a really good point here in the chat. You got to cut on McAvoy's minutes. He is a monster. He plays all situations. So why don't you throw some of those minutes at Mason Lohrei? And, who was it? I think it was Brent Burns back when he started getting older. Like, I'm not saying Charlie McAvoy's old, but when Burns was starting to get old, like that's when you saw Goss Despair come in, Tony DeAngelo come in, take those important minutes away from him in Carolina and let him play like the defensive minutes. So what's your confidence level? 100%, 95, 90 that it's going to be McAvoy, 75%.
If I were the coach, it would be McAvoy, but that's just me. Now, am I incredibly familiar with Lohrei's game? Not as much, but I am familiar with Charlie McAvoy's game. Yeah, and that boy can play. So that would be my opinion, but that's just me.
There you go. Okay, Boston. Do
you think that Corpy gets a little more time?
No, I think Swayman, got that contract, wants to play that contract. He needs to prove himself.
And not that Korpisalo was great either, but
oh yeah, but I think the fact that Swayman's going to have a preseason behind him this year, it should be better for his, right out of the gate performance and things like that. So, maybe his draft stock craters a little bit just based on how he did last year. And this year you might be able to get him at a value if you're a fading goalie.
You would think you would have to, right?
Yeah.
You would think you would have to.
But, for me, that's I don't know, 60-40 kind of split. I don't know that we're seeing like 50-50 or 75-25, but 60-40 sounds about good.
I think Swayman would be a good guy to target in, later in the mid rounds,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
10,
if you're
11,
going
12, something like that.
If you're going volume G or something like that in the mid rounds, want to get one of those handcuffs and then go for an anchor in the back Yeah, I think
Yeah, that's well. I mean,
if
that's how I
even
like
if
to
you
run
fade
my
goalies,
life.
that's fine. Don't want to get on 0G. I don't need any text messages tonight.
Well, I
Somebody
mean,
yelling at me, but we're not hiding anymore.
fucking zero G is fucking stupid. But
Yeah.
that's just my
Out in the
opinion.
open. There you go.
Well, in all honesty,
Kirkland
don't get me
Brand,
wrong.
fading
As
goalies.
far as goalies go, like you got to pick a. I like to get my guy that is my workhorse
Same.
pretty early.
I don't know
there
that-
are only a handful of really good goalies that are always pretty good, and then the other part of it is a crapshoot. Don't get me wrong, but there's always a random goalie every year that just comes out and kills it. Now, if you hit on that, chances are you are not only just going to make the playoffs, but you're going to go far in the playoffs.
Yeah, buddy. There you go.
Like, it makes a fucking difference.
Love me some
Zero G my
original fading goalies. Okay, I don't know that we're going to get a volume goalie out of Swayman. And I don't know if we're going to get a lot of wins. This isn't exactly like the most sexy lineup here.
No.
I don't know that this is a contender or a playoff. They're not even going to be flirting with a playoff. I wonder, what do you think about Pasternak? Like last year, he was kind of in the same situation. Didn't have the supporting cast for him, but it took him a while to get going, like a long, long time. 106 points to finish the year. So his second half was phenomenal. He's still a first round pick for you?
First round pick? No.
So was he on the turn? It's so weird. We started these mock drafts in the Fantasy Hockey Discord here, and I was at the 11 position, and it was just so weird because you a lot of these guys, Rantanen's value took a little bit of a dip, not a huge dip, but it took a dip. There are so many guys that took a dip based on last year and whatever. I think I panicked at 11. I think I took Sam Reinhart at 11.
Oof.
Even though it's a slow draft.
You
but,
love Sam Reinhart.
I do. Right wing. I'm not going to try to justify it. It was a bad pick, and the picks after me, we're thinking a little straighter. But
I mean, don't
it's
get me
just
wrong.
weird.
The
The first round's a little bit weird so far.
But I've just never. I'm personally not a huge pasta guy. All he is going to give you is points.
I think he's a first
and that higher up. I'm personally trying to get a little more rounded of a player. But that's just me.
I still got him in the first round, just personally. We are starting this ADP project.
He's not hitting. He's not.
Let's see, he went 1-6 in the first points league. Let's see, points 2. No, that's the Cats league. We got like 4 fucking mock drafts going, 5 mock drafts going already. It's kind of crazy. Pasta at 7. Yeah, so he's still in the middle, like most of the ADP pulse that we're getting right now. Let's see. This is the first round here. We got McDavid, McKinnon, Hellebuck, Kucherov. 5 whole leagues are valued a little bit different on goalies, guys. Kucherov, Draisaitl, Makar, Pasta, Kaprizov, Matthews, Marner, Crosby, Eichel, Rantanen.
Did you say Pasta was number 5?
7.
Was he 5?
The 5 was Draisaitl.
Okay.
And then guys like, Werenski's sneaking into the second round. I think injury is going to be the bane of that one. He
was 7. I'm sorry. Who did you say was 8, 9, and 10?
8, 9, and 10 was Kaprizov, Matthews, Marner. Matthews at 9, which is kind of nutsy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Happening.
I would definitely rather have Matthews, but also that's because I'm a big simp. I'm a big simp for that man. And honestly, I would take Kaprizov over Pasternak too, but that's just me.
Fair enough. Buffalo Sabres, not much to say here. Traded JJ Peterka to the Utah Mammoth. Signed Justin Danforth and a couple other guys. Alex Lyon, 2x3. Not sure what their crease is really going to look like. You want to think that Devin Levi and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen are your guys going into it. So I don't know if Alex Lyon really sees it. He's kind of a handcuff for the number 3. If injuries pop up, things like that. I don't know. Is Devin Levi on a 2-way contract that he can just get fucking dropped like that. Like, I don't know.
Moved around.
Yeah. Did something happen with Devin Levi that I don't see? He definitely didn't get traded. I don't know about that, but anyway, so Josh Norris, when he gets back fully healthy and things like that, the top 6 is kind of ugly right now. I think Tage Thompson's probably your 1C, not Yuri Kulich, as Daily Faceoff projects. I think Josh Norris is a lock for your second. Rasmus
Hasn't there
Dahlin.
been a lot of talk about trading Tage Thompson?
I
know there has
been
talk
in
about
some
it.
rumors. Alex Tuck. I mean, they traded Peterka, and I think he was like their biggest trade chip. I don't know if Thompson is one to go. Fuck, they don't need defense. Like, they just keep trading for D, drafting D. This is insane. Anyway,
I know Carolina was trying to get Tage Thompson, but I think that the ask was way too much for them. From what I understand, they wanted picks and players, and Carolina was just trying to get picks.
I think this might be our first QB1 lock with full confidence that Rasmus Dahlin will be your power play 1 defenseman.
Ooh, for sure.
I don't think there's a big controversy there. Power play 1 guys,
Byram, Byram on that power play 2, though.
You could. I don't know that I would, because I like Thompson, Tuck, Norris, Zucker as the 4 that go, and then you could like throw some minutes at Benson, throw some at Jack Quinn if you need to move Norris down to the second power play to take faceoffs, whatever you might need to do.
So you having no defense? Are you having no defenseman on your power play 2?
No, I mean, you still got Owen Power. You still have. That's where I would put Byron.
I love Owen Power.
Michael.
I'm
pretty sure Kesselring was doing some Utah power play stuff last year. And I think he's got the build for it too. I think he could do that. Not that
I will say I don't see Owen Power
second
in that situation,
or even third in the conversation. But I'd probably have Power as number 2, then Byram there as well. But the left-right-handed bits about Dahlin and Byram could make sense on a power play, but I just don't know. But I think Dahlin is for sure on your top power play. I think you probably want a little more firepower up there with your forwards. I don't know if there's like a ton of storylines here. I think, the fact that they traded Peterka is a big one. Dylan Cousins was a trade, and this is still a young team. Like, I just don't know what they're doing because they keep trading good players out. I don't know. Like, JJP I liked him a lot. I don't know if there's a ton.
Hey, I'm a Josh Norris fan, though.
Same. And I mean, Dylan Cousins,
Norris,
I think there was something there. People are just trying to get out, man. It's weird. Kyrie Flames.
I think Josh Norris should be on that top line.
I don't know if there's a ton on the Flames either, whether we're talking about this or not. I think there's close to a lock. Like, I would have put, I guess they got Uyghur on both fucking power plays, but I would have had Rasmus Anderson on power play 1. I think Uyghur is just as well equipped to be on that top power play. So there is here, I think, a bit of a 1A, 1B, where I think Anderson and Uyghur can both do it.
Well, I like
track.
I'm a Rasmus Anderson fan.
I know you're a Uyghur fan too. I think there's
I'm a big Uyghur fan
too.
I'm a big Uyghur fan.
This it's I don't know if there's like
Kevin Ball. I know that.
I don't know if there's a lot of hope for our
serial
Hubertos, Blake Coleman. I don't know. This one just seems like a bunch of 60, 70 point ceiling, like best case scenario kind of guys. I think Uyghur's great in bangers. Dustin Wolf, I think, is probably going to be the hot commodity coming out of this squad going into next year. But I don't know, man. Do they have a backup? I don't think they signed a backup. Like Vladar came to Philly. Now they have Devin Cooley. So maybe Dustin Wolf's going to play a shit ton of minutes. That could be something. We'll see what they do. Like guys like Ilya Samsonov are, unless they signed and it slipped under the radar. But, there's still some goalies out there. Alexander Georgiev needs a contract, guys. Figure it out. Carolina Hurricanes, the next team up. Now, I think this one does have a power play quarterback situation. Money's on Gostisbehere. 27 power play points last year, led the team. But now you also have Nikishin, and you have Keandre Miller, who, signs for big money. Not that he's like that kind of, he's not like
They were
typecast
going
for
to put
that.
him in a lot of
Not built.
situations,
I
but
think he's
it's
gonna
going
be
to be Goss to
defensive.
spare.
Yeah,
It's going to be Goss to spare.
that's your guy. Like,
However,
that's his thing.
I will say this: Daily Faceoff has Sean Walker and Jacob Slavin playing together. I think it is going to be Jacob Slavin and Keandre Miller. I know that they have so many left-handed defensemen on Carolina. It's freaking crazy. So not everybody can, play their regular hand. I think Jacob Slavin is going to be more inclined to be able to move to the right side and have Keandre Miller play with him. So that way Miller can be the offensive defenseman and Slavin can be the backstop.
I think
my opinion.
Nikishin with Goss to spare is a death warrant. Like, you don't do that. Like,
Yeah,
Nikishin, how do you say it? Nikishin.
Nikishin.
I know it was strange. Like, I keep seeing the word. Like, when I heard it on the broadcast and things like that, I was like, nah, that's not right. But
they gave Keandre Miller a lot of money, dude.
A lot of money,
and I'm not gonna lie, they're excited about him. They are, and for good reason. I'm telling you, I'd put a bet on that it's going to be Miller and Slavin.
I think that's Nikishin's. That's his spot eventually. And again, sorry if I'm fucking butchering that name, but I think you're right. Like, if Miller and Slavin play together, then you can move Nikishin up with like a Chatfield or a Walker, and then have whoever play with Shane Goss to spare. Because if you put Nikishin with Goss to spare, one of two things are going to happen. He's going to burn out, or he's going to learn all bad habits. So you can't have that. You can't have it. So I don't know. I'm worried about him in that regard. Did Freddie Anderson? I think he re-signed.
Goss has power play one though.
Oh, for sure. What are my kids doing up there? I got the cousins are sleeping over, so it's me, my wife's in
everybody.
Charleston, South Carolina. I think they're like was hoverboarding like right above where I am. But big news out of Carolina. Nikolai Ehlers, Logan Stankoven, all signed contracts, and they got Keandre Miller, which we kind of like briefly touched on. Nikolai Ehlers, I mean, you want to say he's a stable deployment inside the top six in the top power play, but we've seen what's happened with Svechnikov over the past 100 years with Rod Brind'Amour. Ehlers has a bit more pedigree, I think, than Svechnikov, just based on the portfolio and games played that he has and things like that, stuff that Rod Brind'Amour is going to value. So maybe he is a lock for the top line, lock for the top power play, more so than Svechnikov ever was. But I hate the way that Brind'Amour has been treating everybody on this team outside of Sebastian Aho. It's like Aho, and then everybody else moves around. Like, Aho is the only one that doesn't move. Like, if this was one of those like time-lapse shots, where they take a picture of the city and like all the
it's just moving around.
Yeah, all the headlights and stuff are like streaks of things. Like, it's just Sebastian Aho that's standing still. Everybody else is a streak of light.
As it should be, though.
Fair enough, but I also think aces in places, right? Like, that's what you do. And
yeah, no shit.
One
and that's
would
why
think
he's
that,
the ace in the place. He is clear cut the best center
Sebastian
on that team.
Aho. Ehlers definitely has that top line kind of build. As the top line center?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody. You can't put Kakiyemi there. No, never.
No, exactly.
Never.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
Really, they need more center help. That's going to be a problem.
But I mean, going back to last year, I feel like Svechnikov was your best left wing. And then, I mean, you had guys like
and that was a problem.
Jackson Blake was up there. There was so many guys up. Eric Robinson was up there over Svechnikov. There were guys that you wouldn't really think. Dude. So this is a roster that you can't really put a ton of stock in, but I think Ehlers is going to be pretty stable. But again, it's Rod Brind'Amour. What are you going to do?
I do like the fact that Taylor Hall is sticking around, though. I will say that he really meshed well with this team as soon as he got onto it. Just as far as the locker room, everything goes like that.
Yeah.
So I think that he was a great addition. I'm glad that he's sticking around.
Great contract.
But I mean, Daily Faceoff has him on the fourth line. That's crazy.
Who? Hall?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about Stank. They locked him up for a
Stakeholder. Oh yeah,
fucking
no, that
8x6.
was a
That's
smart move.
fantastic.
They had to do that. They had no choice but to do that.
Connor Phillips in the chat. He says Ehlers, Aho, Jarvis, Svetch, and Ghost as your top power play. There's no competition there except for Stankoven, but he'd knock out Svetch. I agree with that. But keep in mind, this is fucking Rod Brindamore, who thinks that Jackson Blake is a top power play guy, thinks that Eric Robinson is a top power play guy. He is antsy. So I never really know what he's going to do. But for all of us with logical brains, and kind of like can put it down on paper, that seems to be what it would be. But the way the game moves a little bit differently than we can put it down on paper. Rod Brindamore is a fucking weirdo. Chicago Blackhawks, they're retaining Ryan Donato. They traded for Andre Burakovsky. Not a ton here. I thought they were going to do a little bit more to insulate Connor Bedard. They were going to give him a little more help. Ryan Donato's breakout last year was fantastic. I hope he can keep it going. He got locked up pretty good, signed himself a pretty decent contract. He's been a countryman in the league for a little bit here, but man, I really thought they were going to go out and get like, not necessarily Mitch Marner or something like that, but I thought they were really going to go for one of the bigger names like Ehlers or Besser, or they were going to go out and they were going to do something. And they got
feel like they
Andre
had to.
Burakovsky and kind of like called it a day. I don't know what they're
Which,
doing.
don't
Like,
get me wrong. I like Burakovsky, but I will say I want to see more out of Nazar this year, like big time. So I've always liked him too, and I was looking forward to him coming into the league. Now I know that he's on the Blackhawks, so I mean, how much really could you expect from him last year?
Yeah,
but I'm hoping that he is a better year this year.
top power play. This for me, it's Lev Shunov. I think Vlasic is a big name out there. Like he did it last year. I don't know if there's much of a market for top power play defenseman in fantasy from the Chicago Blackhawks, but top power play guy is a top power play guy. Who do you got? Like Vlasic was the guy last year. Lev Shunov's kind of coming in. Got names like Korchinski that could potentially flirt with that role, but I think Lev Shunov, Vlasic
that would
are
be fun. That would be fun. Korchinski.
higher.
I like Kevin Korchinski. Man, this is a hard question you just posed. Because looking at those names, it's a real fucking crapshoot, isn't it? You'd almost have to think Vlasic, just because he does, again, the more veteran kind of guy. But if they're going young, you almost might as well just go young and either do a Renzel or a Leshuvnov, or I would love to see Korchinski, but I just don't know if he has that in him.
Yeah, it's going to be a strange one.
All I know is it ain't going to be Bang Daddy Murph. That's all. That's the only thing I can guarantee.
You know who signed with the Flyers is Denny Gilbert. He's a bang daddy for sure. He bangs. Some weird signings out of Philly. Daddy. We're gonna get there. Spencer Knight, Arvid Soderblom. That's your goalie.
I'm excited for Philly.
Yeah. I mean, the
last year they had a friggin' NCAA team, dude. I mean, like, I swear to God, they might have lost to they might have lost to to Boston College for real.
Ugh. Yeah, buddy. All right. I don't think there's much going here in terms of the goalies. Spencer Knight has a high ceiling, or at least he did in Florida. I think he's going to see a ton of games, which is good. Some ton of saves. Laurent Brossoit is their third. Right now he's on IR. Long off season to figure it out. Now, are we done with the Chicago Blackhawks? Want to talk about Colorado?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not much of a vibe here for me in Chicago. I think they're just still want to be bad, and they're gonna be bad. Colorado, on the other hand, just signed Dave Haxtell as an assistant coach, so expect a lot more perimeter shots and Devon Tays action. Yeah. Not cool. All right, so we got pretty much the
Apex doll.
normal crew coming back. Johnny Druin goes over to the Islanders. Brent Burns joins the club. He is not going to sniff top power play time because you have Cale Makar there, our second power play lock of the show.
I don't think he should sniff second power play time
Yeah,
either.
I think that's true. Well, I mean, Brent Burns, Devon Tays, Sam Girard, all kind of
He's
like
not the
in the
Brent
same weight class,
Burns
I think.
from. He's not the Brent Burns from 7 years ago, dude. He's just
Yeah,
not.
but he's not going to be playing Brent Burns minutes for maybe the first time in Brent Burns era. You know what I
No,
mean?
You
Like,
put Gerard there, or Tays, or Gerard. I like
or
Sam
both. I feel like you could technically have two of them. Look at the rest of the guys. Like Ross Colton, I think belongs there. Nishushkin belongs there. Nelson belongs there. Ivan Squared, I'm not sure about. But like, if you have Burns and Tays, or Burns and Gerard, or Tays and Gerard, you have your options. And I think when you're on the second power play, that's when you have 45 seconds or 30 seconds of power play time left. The time's going to expire and you're going to go on defense. So you want two defensemen out there. So I don't know. I think there's a way for Burns to get some power play 2 time. It's not going to be important minutes or fantasy relevant minutes, but I think it's there.
I mean, I don't see it, but that's just me. I wouldn't put him there. I think you have other players that could fill that spot better.
Mackenzie Blackwood, do you think we get another fantastic year out of this kid?
Yeah, I do.
Colorado Avalanche, baby. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I do. I have a question to pose for you though.
Okay.
That I wrote down. Were you drafting Nietzsche?
Ooh, he does
question,
feel like
right?
one of those that, you know what? Let me pull up some of the mocks. I think I would start to feel comfy in like late 3, maybe 4.
I was going to say 3. How do you feel about 3?
But
I like
I
3.
feel like if you really want him, he's probably going to wind up a little earlier than that. Let's see where he's going. Nietzsche went 4-9 in the one I'm looking at. So right there in that 4, going with like the Scheifele's, the Siders, Ovechkins, Shesterkins, kind of in that range. Elias Pettersson dropping to the 6th round. Wow. But yeah, I feel like the 4th round is a pretty comfy spot for Nietzsche, and I like that.
If he's there in the 3rd, you have to take him.
Well, I mean, depending on who else is out there, a lot of the 3rd rounds that I'm looking at are pretty sexy. And Nietzsche just hasn't like tickled my fancy in the 3rd round. Let me see. Oh shit, I'm on the clock in one league. Here's the third round for me. Jesper Bratt, which I could see
point per game, dude. He's point per game there.
And I could see, like, you know, he's kind of a Jesper Bratt build. Forsberg, Panarin, Tage Thompson, Gensel, Point, Robertson, Stutzla, JT Miller, Hedman, Hagel, Boldy. And like, I feel like Nietzsche's name would not be out of place there, but he is just comfortably going in the mid 4th right now. We'll see how it changes, you know, over the off season.
I mean,
but
I will say if he's available in the 4th, man, you got to fucking take him.
You got to take him too. But I think you'll be surprised what's out there.
Point per game guy in the 4th. That's ridiculous.
All right, I'm on the clock in the 7th round. I'm going to think about who I'm taking here. Well, I accidentally auto drafted Philip Gustafsson in the 5th round, so I'm kind of like screwed already.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. Like there's like 5 mocks going on. I'm in most of them, and I don't know if anybody tagged me. And 8 hours just kind of blew by. I wonder if that was when I was sleeping or something, but I don't know.
Don't let it happen where like the year where the auto draft drafted me.
Oh my God.
9 defensemen. Don't let that happen to you.
I
you remember that? I was so mad.
Yeah. You made a good amount of trades for that one though. I remember one year
I had to.
Fantasy hockey podcast guys.
I got all these fucking defensemen. I'm going to trade them and get some people because I had all of the defensemen. I had all of them.
So I remember Stack invited me into one of the leagues. Like they needed a body for one of the final leagues that they were putting together, and they needed somebody like, you know, for the next day. And they were like, and I was still working at Railroad. They were like, yeah, the draft's tomorrow at like 1. And I'm like, oh, okay. That day was a Sunday, and it was Sunday fucking right after church.
Good luck. Good luck
I'm
with
working in a
that.
restaurant, and I'm like trying to fucking draft TJ Oshie by accident in the second round while I'm not cutting my fingers
Oh
off on
my
the goddamn
God.
meat slicer. Yeah, that was brutal. Brutal. I'll figure out. I got 7 hours and 40 minutes to draft somebody,
I
so
mean,
no
I don't
rush
know
here.
which I would rather do: cut off a fingertip
Or have
or
TJ
draft
Oshie.
TJ Oshie in the second round.
I think I'd
Like
probably ditch the
that's a
finger first.
that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. That's a really good question that I don't know if I can answer right now.
All right, Columbus Blue Jackets, man. We got another lock. Zach Werenski is your QB1 for sure, as long as he stays healthy. He really did us a favor last year, for those of you that drafted him, by staying healthy. Every time he does stay healthy for 82 games, you're going to get a Norris caliber season out of him. But you run that risk of injury every time you get him. Columbus Blue Jackets picked up Charlie Coyle, Miles
We've said it
Wood.
before. He always gets the weirdest injuries. It's not like he's getting, normal hockey injuries. He gets like,
He's breaking legs and shit. And
an errant bullet flies onto the fucking ice and
yeah,
Zach Werenski gets shot. Like that's how it happens. But no, in all honesty, he just gets the weirdest injuries. So, as long as he doesn't get some sort of random 1 in a million injury, I think he's going to be all right. I'm excited
Columbus
for
Blue
Adam
Jackets.
Fantilli this year. By the
Oh,
way,
I am. So it is
am.
silly for Fantilli, or are we Monastans? Says caffeine and ketamine. I think we're silly for Fantilli here, but I think Monahan's still got that 1C on lock. Second line is still looking pretty good. Fantilli, Kent Johnson, Igor Chinnikov. I think Voronkov is another kind of like sneaky good play. Kirill Marchenko broke out last year, and he's still kind of running the gamut with that. I don't know. Like they traded Tarasov to Florida. You're running it back with Merzlikins and Jack Reeves. Not awesome for their goalie situation, but I think the offense, like they almost made the playoffs last year on the back of their offense alone. Their goaltending did them no favors whatsoever. So I don't know.
It's all
This
these
to
young
me is
guys. They had their farm system, man, and they're all
yeah.
starting to kind of come
They
up right
draft
now,
really good. They
man.
draft really good. I like the way they do business.
Yeah, me too.
Now I don't know if a lot's changed here. Hopefully everybody stays healthy. JB wants to know if Kent Johnson is DOA. Now I think our second line still looks pretty good. Chinikov, Fantilli, Kent Johnson. I think if KJ stays with the boys there, that's good for him. But I think like Voronkov can kind of sneak in there. Chinikov I think can play both wings. Jenner is very versatile, center, left wing. Marchenko can play up and down the lineup as well. You got a lot of options there, but if KJ right now, like I'm not a huge fan of the way DFO does their projections in the offseason in terms of deployment and things like that. I think Fantilli probably gets on the top.
Shot in the dark.
All right, the kids, it's 11 o'clock and the kids are fucking full of piss and vinegar upstairs.
It's the summertime, man.
I'm
The
not
summertime, and mom's not home. Come on.
curious about the audio quality and why, at 11 o'clock, it sounds like there's a gigantic thunderstorm. But it's just the kids. Yeah, I think the Blue Jackets are largely the same as they were last year. I don't think a ton has changed in terms of what to expect. I think a lot of guys were redlining in terms of sustainability stats. So I think we probably maybe see like a return to normalcy, but this could just be a different team. Like they are, like you said, the great farm system, and they're all kind of coming up at the same time. So like chemistry is just starting to boil over, right? Like it's really getting to temp.
I mean,
Ours,
you
buddy.
can just go down. You can just go down all that list of names. They're all young, and then you got Boone Jenner there, just still kicking ass and taking names.
Hell yeah.
And I don't
Gut
even
feel-
like I hate playing Columbus. I hate playing them.
Oh, I never mind it.
But I like their
never
their
mind.
team.
JB wants to know the gut feel on repeated team success. Like I said, I think a lot of guys were redlining sustainability wise. So, I mean, the numbers would tell you that everybody should kind of like start to equalize. But again, I don't know if it's just the fact
What
that
for
like,
Columbus?
yeah, everybody is getting better at the same time. and
No,
that
yeah,
could just
no,
make
I
you
think it's
believe that it's unsustainability. But like Chinnikov, Voronkov, Marchenko, Fantilli, like this is a young squad. Sillinger, Johnson, like all these guys are coming up at the same time.
yeah, they're
Um,
meshing as a team.
yeah, so
Like,
I think there's a little bit of like magic in the water, but I also think a little bit of unsustainability. It feels like a safe answer. I don't know if they're going to flirt with playoffs again the way they did this year, especially if their goaltending plays like it did last year.
but if you think about
Yeah.
it, that's how these smaller market teams have to function. They're not a large market team where they can just try to buy a championship. They have to work at it over years and draft and get these good young players. And now
Well,
it's all coming to fruition. Yes, I think that they can, especially those guys that we mentioned, the Fantillis, the Johnsons, the Chinakovs, the Voronkovs, all those young guys. Yes, I think that they can keep on going.
well,
Marchenko,
I'll tell you this: like they had big balls, a lot over the last few years. Like they went for Panarin, they went for Johnny Gaudreau, they traded for Line. It didn't work out. It never worked out, and I think they're just kind of like maybe not like washing their hands of going out and trying to buy the big name because they were heavily in on Marner, but also at the same time, like you have a good thing going with all this young talent that you've acquired from being at the bottom and from being really good at drafting. Um, I think him and Judd Bracken are maybe some of the best in the business at drafting.
So
Dallas
I'm
Stars,
putting by the
another
way,
really, really
wait,
good
real
drafting
quick.
team.
By the way, I'm putting Matejchuk in the second PP spot. Thoughts?
Um, yeah, I think you got a bunch of like, I'm right there with you. The only way he gets on, I think, is if it's a 2D power play, because I think Severson has got a power play 2 build. Provorov has got a power play 2 build.
Ugh,
Minchaychuk's right up there.
ugh.
They got guys. Fabro, maybe even
Provy
like
has
they got a bunch
never
of
been good
power
on the
play 2.
power play though, but he's never
Yeah,
been good on the power play ever.
never been. Yeah, it's just so easy for me to talk shit on X
I don't
Flyers.
hate Provorov. Like I don't just
I know.
because you left the Flyers. Usually I'm like, hey,
Good for you.
Like I'll
Yeah.
I'll give you a pat on the ass on the way out. Like good job for handling your business while you were here. But in all honesty, I'd rather have Matejchuk on that second power play.
Dallas Stars, Thomas Harley or Miro Heiskanen as your power play 1.
I mean, your head says Heiskanen, but your heart says Harley. I think that the answer is Harley, but like from past experiences, you think it's Heiskanen. But man, I think it's Thomas Harley, right?
I think it's Harley too. My heart and my head both say Harley. Now, unless something, and JB is a Dallas fan, if I'm not mistaken. So he says it's Miro, money talks. Now, I get it, money talks, but I think Harley did pretty well last year. A lot was going wrong with Heiskanen. I don't know if injury was plaguing him. Hopefully, JB, if you could fill me in on that one. Nate from Australia, if you're still watching, I know you're a Dallas fan too. You guys will probably know better than me on Dallas insider news, but I feel like Heiskanen just had an off year, but at the same time, Harley had an on year. He had such an on
So
year that
good.
it's hard to ignore, to the point where this QB1 is not a lock. It's not a lock, and I think there is a pretty good conversation to be had versus Harley and Heiskanen. So I think there's a little bit there. JB says, I bet Miro's minutes take a dip. They've been over revving him for years. He finally wore out. That could be it. I think the Pete DeBoer show is a little bit over. They got Glenn Gulletson in now. We're going to see what he does with the situation.
God.
Again, another kind of like reset. So do you default to the guy that's been doing it that has more of those games under his belt? Or do you go to
Casey
Harley?
DeSmith would be the fucking starting goalie.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think DeBoer just kind of like wore out his welcome a little bit. But I think it is between Heiskanen and Harley.
Like, I'm going to try to
recency
piss
bias
everyone off.
Casey Smith is a perfect way to piss you off. That's for sure.
Dude, that was okay. No. Past is the past. I'm sorry, but like I woke up sweating the other night. Still having nightmares over that stupid shit.
The Casey DeSmith sweats.
Ridiculous. Ugh.
Yeah, recency bias would tell you that Harley's on that top power play, but Glenn Gulletson, we'll see what he does when he gets in there. He might just default to Heiskanen, which I don't think would be a bad thing either. Hopefully we get away from some of those rolling lines, rolling minutes, spreading things out that Pete DeBoer did towards the beginning of last season and with the power plays and things like that. But it's been a while since Gully has been a coach in the NHL. So I'm really curious to see what he does with a squad that is like very, very top heavy. You got a lot of studs here.
The Dallas Stars.
You have a lot of studs. Robertson, Hintz, and
I
Rantanen.
love their team.
That is a beefy fucking first line. Great for Rupe Hintz,
Look at that
who like looks a little bit out of place between Robertson and Rantanen, but he's gonna get those collateral damage kind of points. Like he's gonna get the shrapnel. That's for sure.
Wyatt Johnson should be on the top line though.
I think he'll get there. I wonder. Yeah.
Should be. He should be.
Yeah. And then you got Sagan, Jamie Benn, the old guard, still running
Sagan
pretty
still
strong.
got, though.
Evgeny Dadonov over to New Jersey, Mikhail Granlund to Anaheim. So a couple subtractions as well. But I think this is another
Maverick Borg.
Yeah, they draft really well. This is going to be a 100% playoff team, Stanley Cup contender. Depending on what Gulletson does, unless he totally fucks up, there's no reason they can't just go on autopilot and do it themselves. So it is.
They could not have a coach and just the players coach the team, and they would make the playoffs.
I think so. All right, JVR on line one. Get out of here, guys. Get out of here. But it makes sense because DeBrincat and Kane should play together. We're talking about the Detroit Red Wings right now. They acquired John Gibson for Peter Mrazek. They traded Vladimir Tarasenko to Minnesota, added JVR, signed Mason Appleton, very underrated signing. I think that's a really smart move. Good for your bottom six, 2.29 for 2 years, JVR 1x1. Now, I don't know if JVR is going to be a top line guy, but at the same time, you look at this roster, there's not a lot else that you could do there. But at the same time, you're like, okay, Larkin needs a left wing to play with. DeBrincat's sitting right there, but you can't ignore the chemistry twofold between Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond. Can't break them up. And then Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat can't break them up. So one of the big things that you needed for Larkin and Raymond was a left winger, and JVR is what you've done. Whatever. Oh God, here's I guess the delay from Australia. Gulletson said Steele in the top six is something he's considering. That's so fucking weird. Who do you kick out of the top six for Sam Steele? Tyler Sagan?
What?
I don't know. Okay, so the Red Wings, they
split them into two people and have Sam Iron and Sam Nickel, shit. And they could both play the fucking fourth line.
Red Wings traded for John Gibson. I think they're going to run a 50-50-ish split with Gibson and Talbot. They cleared some cap space by offloading Tarasenko. They do have a little bit of room. I don't know what they're going to do with it. There's not much left out in the market.
Do we at least have another power play lock here
with Moritz Seider? I mean,
yeah.
I hope so. You would think so.
I'd say we've been saying it all the other times. We might as well.
Yeah, I think Todd McClellan is pretty smartly deploying.
Not an idiot
out there. This is like a true first power play. Dylan Larkin, Patrick Kane, Alex DeBrincat, Lucas Raymond, Moritz Seider. Fuck, like 4 years ago, that would have been my rounds 4 through 7, all draft picks, 4 through 8, whatever. Like I would have taken all of those guys in succession.
Who?
Everybody on this power play is like one of my guys. Like I love Dylan Larkin, shot volume.
Ugh.
Alex DeBrincat, shot volume. Lucas Raymond, all about it. Moritz Seider, Bang Daddy, Patrick Kane.
You're not allowed to like Alex DeBrincat. You're not allowed to like him.
I know. I remember one of the first years we were playing. You had the Kane DeBrincat Chicago stack.
Fucking
that destroyed me.
And you yelled at me. You were like,
every time.
You took Alex DeBrincat there? Are you stupid? And then he ran house on your ass?
I don't remember saying that specifically, but yeah.
You made me out to be some sort of like I was drunk while we were.
You were drunk.
I might have been drunk. We were probably all drunk.
Yeah, I think we were drunk. That was
we had a
when
closed bar,
Mike
but
let
the
us
bar was
roundhouse in
open.
the bar.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But he did call and say, "Get the fuck out of my bar," because it was like 11 o'clock. We started drafting at 1. He was like, "Get the fuck out of my bar."
Why are you still there?
Yeah, not a ton to talk about on the Detroit Red Wings. I don't think there's any hidden gems or anything. They're just kind of running it back, which is not what I expected. I wanted more movement out of them in the offseason. They didn't give it to us. Edmonton Oilers, I liked
They
the
have a
moves
bunch of
that they
second
did.
liners.
Who? Detroit or
Detroit.
Edmonton?
It's a team of second liners.
Oh. Edmonton's got a bunch of first liners, that's for sure.
Yes.
Got rid of
Man, I wanted
Vander
them to
Kane,
win. I
got
was
rid
rooting
of
for
Victor
them so bad.
Arvidsson. Jeff Skinner was allowed to walk. Added Andrew Mangiapane, another
You fucking
underrated
blame
signing.
them?
I think that's going to be a really good move for them. I think him and Draisaitl are going to be tethered together all year. I
They
think
should have
that's
let
going to be
Stuart
a
Skinner
really,
walk,
really good
too.
one. Say it again.
That's what I said they should have let Stuart Skinner walk too.
Yeah, they should have let both the Skinners walk.
Everyone named Skinner needed to be on a different team. They need a new goalie. In all honesty,
You
let's
know,
just be serious.
it's
Do
been 3
you
years
think
and
that
we were saying
Stuart
John
Skinner,
Gibson was going to be there.
dude?
Do you think they
Oh
go
my
for
God! If
Samsonov or
John
some
Gibson
shit?
was there, what's that?
Do you think they go for Samsonov? They try that one?
Oh man, I don't know if
Watch him get
that's too
Georgiev and
much
just be like,
better.
"See, we did it, guys. We did it. We got the
But
goalie."
dude,
Right?
okay. Do you honest to God think that Stuart Skinner can win you a Stanley Cup? Do you?
No,
No.
he's 0 for 2, dude.
As he
That's
should
it.
be, because he's not good enough. He got
He's not going to do it.
to win a cup, to win a cup. And I was
He's not good enough.
seriously rooting for the Oilers,
So was
but
I.
I told you from the start that Stuart
Yeah,
Skinner is not a cup winning goalie.
I agreed with you, man. I really don't think they're built for it. They need to address that goaltending. Like Calvin Pickard is not your guy,
Yes.
and it's not Stu Skinner either. You're gonna have to Jack Campbell him. You know, you're gonna have to put him in the minors, sell him to fucking the Red Wings or some shit. I really thought it was gonna be Gibson for 3 years. We've been saying that, but it hasn't happened. I think we have another quarterback one lock in Evan Bouchard. I don't think there's
And
a conversation there.
what did Gibson get traded for?
Mrazek. I think it was like 1 for 1, or
Mraz
they might have sent a
was a
fucking
one
pick
for
back.
one.
I think there was a pick involved.
Well, I don't care. So you're telling me that the Oilers could have gotten rid of Stuart Skinner and a pick and gotten John Gibson? Man, they win. They win next year if that happened.
Well,
That's crazy.
yeah. I think they still could. I think Detroit is still going to be a major player. They're going to move something. You know, Alex Lyon walked to Buffalo, and who was the other one that they had? Gibson, Huso, I think, is in San
shit.
Jose or some shit. Like
That was close. Did you hear that?
Thunder?
Yeah, did you hear that?
I heard my kids upstairs.
Oh, damn. That was like some really close ass thunder. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then.
But I think Edmonton, man, like I don't know if they improved, but they definitely didn't get worse. I love the Mangiapane move. Isaac Howard, they traded for him yesterday. Tampa Bay gets Sam O'Reilly. Isaac Howard, bit of a brat from what I'm hearing from Tampa Bay fans. He's got a bit of an ego on him, but he's going to play NHL games, which I think is huge. The room wasn't there for him in Tampa, so I think this is where things kind of start for Isaac Howard. I think he's going to get a look. Thoughts on Wallman from WMW Animations? Did great on San Jose and a few games in Edmonton. I think downgraded in terms of fantasy from top power play in San Jose to second power play at best in Edmonton, but you're still seeing intermittent
Behind
time
Bouchard,
with
obviously.
the guys. Yeah, you're going to be behind Bouchard at even strength. You're going to be behind Ekholm and Darnell Nurse on the left side. So I don't know. Like, I think he was very important in the playoff run, had some really good moments, I think, both offensively and defensively. So I like Wallman. I just don't think that there's going to be like in a 12 team or something like that. I don't think outside of a stream every once in a while you're going to see prolonged value in him. I think in a
Yeah, well,
dynasty,
in
I think
all
he gives you
honesty,
good value.
as far as Edmonton goes, they're looking for their defensemen to play fucking defense. They have enough offense. Can
Yeah.
we agree on that?
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
They have so much. They have
Yeah.
so much offense. They're looking for their defensemen to play defense. Now,
It was
Bouchard
a
is
big
definitely an
storyline last
offense.
year.
What's that?
The defense. I remember Connor McDavid specifically commenting on that. Like, we played defense tonight. Like, what are you talking about?
Well,
I mean, you got guys
well,
like fucking
and
Darnell Nurse and Evan
that's my
Bouchard.
but that's my opinion. They want their defensemen to play defense.
All right, man. Florida Panthers, reigning back-to-back champs, kind of run it back, which is incredibly impressive and surprising. They were able to retain Marchand, Bennett, and Ekblad. They also got Daniil Tarasov, high ceiling prospect, highly regarded at one point. They also added Jeff Petrie just to keep the Aaron Ekblad, Seth Jones, Jeff Petrie fucking top power play conundrum afloat, because they don't like Aaron Ekblad up there. But I do think Seth Jones is probably not a lock, but I think first in line. During the meaningless games, I think as the games get more important, you're probably putting Aaron Ekblad up there into the playoffs and things like that, because he's got more of a defensive brain on him than Seth Jones. But I think when you want offense, Seth Jones is the guy you're going to. So for me, QB1 starts with Seth Jones, then goes to Ekblad, then Petrie. Not sure where you land on that one. I think Forsling's even got a say in it too.
I'm sorry, I was messaging you at the time.
Oh yeah, because we're an hour in and only halfway. Should we turn this into two-parter? What do you think?
I messaged you to literally my computer is like super low on battery. I'm at 19%. So I have to either run down and get my charger, or I'm even down to pick this up tomorrow night if you'd prefer.
Tomorrow night? Yeah, we can do it tomorrow night. I think I'm free.
I'm free tomorrow night.
Be free. Good to go. Run down and get the charger. He doesn't want it to end, but I got 4 kids upstairs unsupervised. 2 of them are not my kids, so I gotta go check. Number 1, to check on my house, and 2, to make sure that they're still breathing and haven't turned on the tub and fallen in it face first. So I think that's as good a place to kind of stop. Like, maybe we'll touch on the Florida Panthers again tomorrow, but turning this into a 2-parter is a pretty good one. Still got half a drink here. I was pacing myself, but I'm not going to do it anymore. I am definitely going to be chugging
I
that
have
one.
like 2 more shots left. I'm going to take one right now. So like I'm going to have this little fucking.
There you go. Shrill it up. What do you look like tomorrow? Do you got work?
I love Sailor Cherry.
10 p.m. again? His computer
What's going
took
on?
shit again.
Oh, I was going to say what happened.
Viewers in the chat. Hi, everybody who's watching us either on
Look how
live
tan I
on
am.
Twitter or no, we're red, dude. I had to turn the green lights on because it canceled out my sunburn. But anyway, that's it for us. The first half-ish of the NHL. We're gonna do the rest of the vibe checks tomorrow. If you guys want, leave a review. Zach is back for good. So if you're digging that, you can leave a review and let him know how much you missed him review. If you leave a bad review, I'm going to text you personally, your personal phone number. I'm going to text you. That's what we do.
My personal phone number?
Community. No, whoever leaves a bad review. You say bad things about me, I'm going to text you personally. That's what I'm going to do. Just good. I love you guys. And see you tomorrow. Love you.
Love yous.